Hey folks, I wanted to take a moment to show you the page edit screen. It's not, and anybody who's working with Zen Framework, how I approached or did this approach. It's not really a complex way of doing things, and the edit screen I don't think works entirely right now. I did make some changes with the node system, which I did another video on, so I don't think this works entirely, but that's okay. This'll be able to work for a demonstration. So I'm going to go to page index action create, and I have a subform here which handles my buttons. And like I said, this is more for anybody who's interested in working with Zen Framework. So I have my buttons here. I have a title with a form with a wow, I can't even talk today. Title with a field here, and then I'm using TinyMCE as my editor. This piece here is handled through a Zen form element, and I'll show you how I did that in a few minutes. But I wanted to make it so that way I could just drop something in really quick if I needed an editor, and it would work in any kind of form. So I added that, and then below here I have a subform which handles my metadata, my title, my description, keywords, all that stuff, which I got to work on resizing this a little bit. Eventually, in my last video, I mentioned drag and drop stuff. Right now, it's just a very, very simple edit screen. Eventually, I want to have a non-JavaScript version and a JavaScript version. Of course, the non-JavaScript version will just be the very stripped down version, so anybody who doesn't have any JavaScript or any kind of client-side coding available, they can still make it work. So that's something I'm working on, and to me, backwards compatibility, and I always get confused by the term of graceful degradation and progressive enhancement. Progressive enhancement is at the lowest point, it still works, it's not going to break, and then you slowly enhance it with additional features through JavaScript and stuff like that. Progressive degradation, I believe, is going from the different types of browsers. You accommodate for the lower or the older browsers, so that way it still works correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Anyways, back to my edit screen. Eventually, I want to drag and drop things in, so this content piece will just be a drag and drop, and that becomes a content item. Your form editor, you just drag and drop a new form in, and you can add buttons and fields and all that stuff. Haven't quite thought that far ahead, but we'll get there when the time comes and once I get a little bit more time. So jumping over to the code on how I made this work, I actually got to find that piece now. See, library, CMS, get rid of node, content, form, element, and edit actions. This is what builds that piece. And no, I'm mistaken. No, that's my subform element. There we go, TinyMCE. There we go. What it does is all that I have is Zen Framework form element, text area. I've extended that and called that CMS form element TinyMCE. The helper is form TinyMCE, and this is just calling a view helper. So I assigned a view helper to this. This is available in Zen Framework out of the box, so it's just giving it a name of a helper that I want it to work with. So form TinyMCE has a corresponding view helper, which I have here under CMS content view helper form TinyMCE, which is where all the magic happens. So here, it's this function sets up my JavaScript, so it's calling TinyMCE the JavaScript and the configuration JavaScript. It's giving the class for the text area a class of TinyMCE, so that way I can assign the JavaScript and make that nice WYSIWYG editor. And then it's just returning this form text area, which is available from the Zen view helper form text area object, and I'm just assigning the name, value, and attributes, and that's really all that's happening. And now my editor is available. So if you wanted to create your own, let's say you want to use some kind of other editor, this would probably be a really good approach. You can just create a view helper, a form element that calls a view helper, and that really handles adding your JavaScript on the fly and creating the object itself. So it's a pretty simple approach. It makes it pretty easy when you're trying to add the editor to multiple forms. You don't want to have to go in and remember, oh, I need the JavaScript. You just drag and drop or create the element itself, and it'll do it for you. Very, very helpful. If you have any questions about how I did this, or any questions about anything that's going on, send me a message. I do want to get back to creating more videos on down the road, and I've gotten a couple of requests with my my active record pieces, the object-oriented select and stuff with MySQL, on how to create something that will get multiple records back from the database. So I'm going to do something with that, but really active record is the one row that you're working with. So it's not really meant to do multiple records, but I'll find a workaround for that and explain it. But let me know if you have any questions.